I'm working in the New Perspectives Microsoft Access 2010 textbook. I'm in Tutorial 5, and I'm beginning on page AC308, and I'm going to create the custom form that you see in figure 6-17 on page 308. Now, if you look at my figure on the screen, you can see that I've made a few changes. The first change that you will see is that instead of using a raised special effect, I've used an etched special effect. Using a raised special effect on a form can be misleading. Normally when we see something raised on a form, we think we should be able to click it. So if the object is not clickable, it's best not to use a raised special effect. One of the reasons that your author has used a raised special effect is that that particular special effect has worked consistently in Access 07 and in 2010. Some of the special effects don't work consistently, and what you find you need to do is set one special effect that does work consistently, like raised, and then change it to something else. And normally when you change it, then it will work. The other changes that I've made is that I've added room in the subform control for a scroll bar. If I'm adding invoices to this particular contract, there's going to come a time when I have more invoices than will show within the window that I've created, and I'm going to want a scroll bar. So I've left room so that as I add additional invoices, I can scroll without also having a horizontal scroll bar. If I have a horizontal scroll bar as well, and I'll switch to Design View or to Layout View and just give you an idea that if I bring this in too far and I have a horizontal scroll bar, as you tab through it, your screen bounces. It says it moves back and forth, and people that are working with your form when it does that may be very annoyed by it. I'm going to leave room so that my database can grow and I don't have to do additional redesign to my forms. So we're going to start with Create, Blank Form. I'm going to switch to Design View, and my field list appears, but I'm not seeing any available fields. I can get to those by clicking Show All Tables, and then expanding the tables that contain the fields that I want to add to my form. On page AC311, we've been asked to bring in contract amount, signing date, start date, customer ID, and contract type. Just let me double check to make sure that I got them in. Contract num, contract amount, signing date, start date, customer ID, and contract type. Looks good. I'm through with the fields, so I'll go ahead and close my field list. I'm going to click Save, and I'm going to name this form FRM Contracts and Invoices. After naming my form, I'll click OK, and I'm on to my next step. We've been asked to move and arrange and align the controls. My mantra is make it work and then make it pretty. So I'm going to move these controls around a little bit as kind of placeholders, so they're in the place that I want them to be, but they may not be necessarily aligned perfectly. And when I'm all done making the form work, then I'll come back and I'll align and make everything look pretty. I'm going to take the contract field, I'm going to move it to the right until it's basically along the 3-inch line and aligns with signing date. So I'll just grab it and move it, and that's fine. That's good enough there. Then I'm going to go ahead and make this one a little larger, and again, just enough so that I have created kind of a placeholder. Looks good enough. I'll save it again. The next thing I'm going to do is delete the customer ID field. I'll save again. And I've been asked to create a combo box, and so I'm going to go ahead and create my combo box. It will go right in here. So from Design, I'm going to click Controls. I'm going to find my combo box, Make sure that you get the combo box and not the list box. The list box looks similar, but it doesn't work the same way. So make sure it says combo box on it. Before you click combo box, down below you see you use control wizards. If the control wizard is highlighted, it's turned on. And when you place your combo box on the form, the combo box wizard will fire up. If the control wizard is turned off, when you place the combo box control on the form, basically nothing happens. The control goes on the form and that's it. So we want to make sure for our use in this class that the control wizard is turned on and left on. The book will ask you to check it regularly, primarily because if you're doing a programming class and also doing an Access class, you may be turning off the wizards and forgetting to turn them back on. If you're only using Access for this class, then the control wizard should be left on at all time and you don't need to worry about them. So I'm going to go ahead and click my combo box control, come into my form, and again, I'm not going to worry too much about where I put it. I'm just going to get it in the general area. So I'll drop it, the combo box wizard fires up. I want the combo box to get the values from another table or query. That's the one we want. I'll click Next. I need to tell it the source of the combo box, and in this case I'm going to use the QRY Customers by Name query. If this query does not work, your combo box will not work. So you better make sure that the query works properly. Refer back to Tutorial 5. Double check this query. When you open it, you should not get any errors. You should not get a parameter. The query should just open. Select it. Click Next. The fields we're going to bring in are Customer and Customer ID. We'll click Next. We're going to sort ascending on Customer. Next. I'm going to resize my columns. I will use my column header kind of as a guide, and then I'm going to scroll down and find my longest data value, click to resize to it, and then I'm going to pull this out about another third, about there. Next. When you select a row in the combo box, you can store a value from that row in your database. The field that we have in the contract table is customer ID. I can't store the customer data because it doesn't exist. That's a calculated field. So I need to select customer ID. Next. Store the value in this field, customer ID. So those two values should match. Next. What do I want to call it? When I look at my picture, it says that I'm going to call this customer ID. Next. Let's just go to Form View and see if it works. My sizing is perfect. Looks good. I'll go back to Design View. And I can resize this in Layout view, but right now what I want to do is I want to give this a name. So I'm going to open up my Properties sheet. This combo box is currently called Combo 6. Combo 6 is not a meaningful name. Let's give this control a meaningful name. Let's call it CBO, Customer ID. And I'll go ahead and close my properties again. Now I'll go over to Layout View, and I'm going to move forward a few records. I think that my longest record is somewhere in this area. That's one of the ones that's GR Neighborhood Development and Kalamazoo are very close. That should be enough. Again, I'm going to worry about all of these widths and alignments after my form works. Let's go back to Design View. The next thing that I've been asked to do is change the caption property on this. So I can double click to open it. When I change the caption, you're going to see the change right here in the label. I'll put it back. Now if I come over to the label and make the change here, I'll also see it in the caption property. So you can change it one place or the other and it will change the other one. The next thing we're going to do is add a title to the form. I'll close my properties again and I'll click Title. It'll create a header and a footer and add the title control. I'll go ahead and change that to Contracts and Invoices. And I resized it to fit, and I did that by simply moving my mouse over any one of the resizing handles until my mouse pointer becomes a double-headed arrow, and I double-clicked. I'm going to change this to bold. It's probably going to make it too wide now to fit, so I'm going to add some space here. My rule of thumb is that I leave about enough space for an extra letter inside of the control. I also have this sitting over here, so I'll just hit my delete key and get rid of that. The next thing that we'll do is take another look at this to see, we'll do a little bit of alignment. I want these two to align, so I'll come out in my ruler and grab them and do sizing, align top, and again just kind of get my placeholders all in the right place. In the next segment, we'll come back and work on session 6.3.